Ask and ye shall receive. Seek and ye shall find. Right? I got a hair on my head. So this is a podcast that a ton of you have sent me the storyline. And a lot of you, we got a lot of financial folks that follow News for Reasonable People. Because I'm not really a financial guy. I'm a real estate guy, which is different. Finance versus real estate. Real estate's kind of whatever, right? Especially residential real estate. Oh, you're a residential real estate guy. Sorry to hear that. I get it. The storyline is the demise of San Francisco. So is that happening so that a bunch of billionaires can snap up properties and then just further create greater wealth? Is that what's going on in San Francisco? That's what we're going to get into today, because so many of you have reached out and a lot of you are not like 100% on board with this theory, but it kind of goes along those lines. And I'm always skeptical of, it's like the whole Maui concept, Lahaina. Well, they burned it down because they couldn't root those people out. Now they're just going to go in and on all these residential, parcels that are zoned residential, they're just going to put up high rises. It's going to happen. It's happening. I know it. We're going to watch a quick Joe Rogan video. We're going to read a tweet, and then we're going to go through a bunch of comments. And I think you'll be surprised at varying levels of what people are thinking. There's some real, nonsense out there as well. But this is a storyline that keeps coming up, because otherwise, why would they be letting San Francisco get to such a bad state? Why would they let Portland get to such a bad state? What would the other reasons be? I mean, it's idiocy, right? To let these once great cities just absolutely tank. There's got to be something nefarious going on, doesn't there? Let's get into it. Here we go. This is from Wall Street Silver. This is one of many that you've sent me along this whole line. It's kind of what people are thinking. This is from Wall Street Silver. This is Twitter. I do virtually no Twitter. I think I've got a feed out there, but whatever. I honestly think it's a real estate strategy by a few billionaires. All right. Drive down the real estate values in San Francisco by 80%, then buy up all the cheap defaulted real estate, then reestablish law and order to rebuild. Beautiful location that they purchased an 80% discount. It's the plot of RoboCop and Happening in San Francisco. And that video is already, it auto plays. So let's get to it. I'm going to go back here and we're going to start over. Let's watch it. So yeah, the plot of RoboCop. I mean, the Purge, we got the Purge literally playing out in Chicago right now. Let me take that off. Oh, I got so much nonsense to manage. Oh, there we go. All right. Now we got this bad boy going. Let's crank this up. Let's see what Joe Rogan has to say. I mean, I think he just basically rips it right here.
San Francisco's the worst. San Francisco is like a failed state. San Francisco might as well be Libya. That place is wild.
Yeah.
People are just in the streets.
The crime is next level in San Francisco. It is
next
stupid.
Next level.
It is stupid.
People are parking their cars and leaving their windows rolled down and their hatch is open.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to get smashed.
It doesn't matter what time of day. It doesn't matter who's around.
Doesn't matter who's around. No one's stopping anybody from doing anything. Mm-mm. It's crazy. They're like, what the
ghost town, and they're not pumping the brakes on it.
I don't know what they do now at this point. What do they do? They don't have the resources to fix it now. Because they've it up so bad for so long, and they would have to admit that all of their policies sucked.
And nobody's going to do that.
Nobody's going to do that.
I just love the way that Joe Rogan have to admit that their policies sucked. It's so true though, right? It's so true. But the issue we have is London Breed in San Francisco right now is, you've got APEC coming in, Asia Pacific something conference. You got that coming in fall here into San Francisco. So they're trying to clean up places like the UN Plaza that have just been overrun with drugs, stolen goods, human trafficking. I mean, you name it, it's there. And so their solution is to move out a farmer's market from that area and to move in a skate park, a skateboard park, along with some ping pong and chess. That's going to bring in the new element that's going to push out all the drugs. That's the kind of logic that we've got going on here. And that's literally what Joe Rogan hits on. He's a comedian, right? And he's talking, I think that guy, the other guy's another comedian. I don't know who that other guy is, but I've seen him a bunch and he's pretty damn funny as well. I just don't know him by name. But when you got a couple of comedians that are sitting around going, that place sucks, and they list off the crime and they basically say, well, they'd have to admit that their policies are terrible. Yeah, that is when comedians can pick that out like that's when you know this is pretty obvious. The emperor has no clothes, right? So, okay. So they throw that out there. What do people say to this guy saying, hey, here's a theory, billionaires. This is all the workings of billionaires. I really think you're onto something here. This is from Noda. I really think you're onto something here. I guess the big question is, when did these billionaires realize, was it before the troubles or something during? Because the policies in San Francisco have taken years and years and years to get there, right? Years and years and years to have this kind of decay. And that's literally what you got going on. People are saying, San Francisco's fine. Okay. I mean, yeah, but when the number one podcaster in the world can pick it apart in a 1-minute clip, you know, it's not that far off of reality. If it was before then that would look really terrible. Like they wanted it to happen, maybe even facilitated it through means such as Proposition 47, as you mentioned earlier today. If it occurred during, while it doesn't look as bad, it does beg the question, are they incentivized to keep up the decay in order to lock in those depreciating land values and ensure they could capitalize on acquisitions at rock bottom prices? Could explain the apparently inexplicable lack of improvement. That's the one thing that I think people get really worked up on, is that how can they allow this to keep getting worse? If there isn't some other kind of nefarious involvement by billionaires somewhere. I don't really believe that. I just don't. I think you've got some terrible policy. I think you've got people with, you know, what I've been referring to as lately is massive example of cognitive dissonance, meaning they look at something that they know should be happening one way and it's happening another way. And so in their head, well, we just got to give this policy a little bit more time, like Proposition 47, which took shoplifting. If it's anything under $950, then it's a misdemeanor and you get a little fine. But if it's under $950, yeah, you're not going to do any time. It's no longer going to be any kind of felony. It's just, so it's basically just, you know, green lit the whole shoplifting thing. And then they've decriminalized drugs to the point where you've just got all of this narrative and stuff going on. That's just, it's crazy. Going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Who the winners and losers are. It's just a sad state of affairs. And I've been saying for a while that I believe there's going to be some real money made in San Francisco. There's going to be some real money made there. I mean, this is going to be one of those opportunities of a lifetime that if you have cash and you have the balls to invest in San Francisco, you are going to do really well, because everybody is always, I'd never buy there. That's a hole. It's never going to turn back around. It will turn back around because all markets typically do that have an economic base that will still allow them to drive. The exception to that would be like Michigan, Detroit, right? Didn't have the economic driver there anymore. San Francisco does. So yeah, billionaires may be seeing an advantage, but it would take a lot of coordinated planning. All right. Yes, it would. I do wonder what the leftist strategy and end game is, though. We all do. Like, what is there a strategy? I don't think there is. I think it's, well, this is what progressive policy gets us. It should work. It'll work at some point in time here, won't it? Guys, it'll work, right? This will work. They just keep doing the same thing, and it's just effed so many ways. I'm certain it's not climate repairing. Something nefarious is going on. All right. They definitely have the means necessary to finance coordinated planning. I'm with you. It's suspect. Okay. It's how Soros operates, Joanne Morris says. All right. Yes. Soros, billionaire. You betcha. Okay. But does that mean that's happening here? That's the question. Crime does seem to follow in every district his money gets a DA in. That is 100% true. No issues with that. I think there is a definite correlation there. You get a weak on crime district attorney. How's that going to work out? Yeah, not well. All right. Got one guy going, You got other people doing the same thing. And somebody says they're going to make it into a smart city. All right, whatever. California lands are not what they were 30 years ago. The residents really paved over paradise. Just over a century ago, there was a massive ancient lake, millions of years old, called Tule Lake. They drained it to make farmland for vets. The entire ecosystem has been in decline since. All right, okay. It was the plan all along, says Magic. Okay, and I'm just reading, I'm just going down the storyline here just to see what's out there. Because Twitter is just, I'll throw my opinion out there. Why wouldn't I? It was the plan all along. Was this the plan all along? I don't think so. I think this is just how it happened, right? This is just how it's happened. And now you've got a situation where literally you've got buildings selling for cents on the dollar. 15 cents on the dollar at times. That's kind of the 10 cents on the dollar. And you get some high appraisals and you get current valuations. You might have a 90% drop in value. We are literally seeing that happen. So it was the plan all along? No, I don't think so. But it's been happening. And you know what? People with money, they have the ability to spend money when the rest of us don't, because we can't risk jumping into a market that is just sideways. And that's what San Francisco is right now. Absolutely sideways. So you will see literally billions of dollars of wealth created in San Francisco by the time this whole thing plays out. So definitely a conceivable reason as why this administration defunded the police, have corrupt DAs, Black Lives Matter riots, rampant crime, anti-white, anti-Asian, surge of migrants, no border control, so tons of fentanyl and other drugs and homelessness. Why else would they be allowing this to go on? That's a very good question. That is one that I do not have the comprehensive answer to. But is it planned? I don't think so. I think certain aspects of it are planned. I think the Black Lives Matter riots were planned for sure, because those happened in concerted effort. Like the way I saw them happen here in downtown Bellevue, that was planned. 100%. That was planned. And just no question there. So Black Lives Matter. You riot and you tear apart a city. You set it on fire. You kill some people. I mean, nothing says racial justice like that, does it? No. Yeah, just crazy. Anti-Asian hate. Okay. All right. Anti-white for sure. Anti-Asian hate. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of examples of that. But is that part of trying to drive out people from San Francisco so you can get cheap property values? I think that's just one of those racial things going on right now. Look up how much a homeless shelter makes in a night for each bed they provide. It's something close to like $3,000 a night for each bed. So if a shelter has 30 beds, you do the math of how much these shelters make and how none of these shelters actually help anyone. 100% agree on that for sure. I mean, that one, yeah. The homeless industrial complex is out of control, but I think people are getting wise to the issue of this isn't a housing issue. This is a drugs issue. And when somebody realizes that after all this investment has happened, all right, we need to bring out the detox beds. We need to get the treatment going. We need to get the mental health care. We need to invest in mental health care facilities. All that'll happen. And there'll be a massive crackdown on crime. I think that's what happens. So, bro, I think these are just the same guys that got to oil and the railroads first. They never left and have been corrupting government into their clutches this whole time. Now they have so much power and so many politicians in their pocket that we're seeing end results. That's the conspiracy theory. They've been there the whole time. This is just part and parcel of the plan. Is it? Is it? You be the judge, right? I don't think it is. For years, they complained about the costs of housing / real estate. Makes one wonder if it wasn't the government's plan to lower prices. The benefactors being the real estate moguls notified in advance and the government officials who will swoop in to solve the problem they created. All right. Maybe. Okay. I'm not saying no. Let's play theories here, though. The next Dogosaurus says, did you notice all the things that started to go weird after Epstein's arrest and suicide? This is a different angle. Okay. After Epstein, all this happened. What if global elites want a system where they can do their tricks without being held accountable? Okay. I'm listening. All right. I didn't notice the correlation after Epstein's suicide. Let's be honest. He didn't commit suicide. That's absolutely, he knew too much, right? He knew too much. And yeah. What's the end game? 15-minute cities. Duh. All right. Okay. All right. 15-minute cities. Yeah. How's that working out? Okay. Are people moving into 15-minute cities? They moving out? Okay. Yeah. Still out, right? And verdict's still out. This implies billionaires are really smart. Okay. The next person, John Carl says, I have not noticed that. Okay. For one, if you ruin a city and then rebuild it, will they come? Good question. Will they come? Yes, they will. If you rebuilt San Francisco right now, it was once an amazing town, an amazing city. It's got worldwide impact, right? If you rebuild it, they will come back because people are still going there. Tourism is still a massive driver in San Francisco. It's just you got areas like the financial district that because of the whole work from home thing and street conditions in San Francisco are just basic ghost towns. They're going to have to work through getting from point A to point B, and they're going to have to figure, incentives out, whatever it is to bring businesses back in. They're going to have to work through that. So you're going to have some deep pockets like a billionaire would, right? Or just, massive corporations to get from where we are right now to that point where things are rolling again. A city is more than the real estate and infrastructure. True dat, right? It's more than real estate and infrastructure. It's a complex web of relationships that take decades to develop and decades to unwind. This didn't happen. San Francisco's demise didn't happen since the pandemic. Portland's demise didn't happen since the pandemic, but it just put the spotlight on it, right? It just really highlighted, wow, all that stuff Joe Rogan was talking about. Newsom sweeps in to help save San Francisco by acquiring all the land for a special not-for-profit urban smart device, only social credit dystopian 15-minute city. San Francisco demise. So everyone has to show their social credit / chip implants for all interactions. Okay. Newsom sweeps in to help save San Francisco. It does seem like Newsom has spent a lot of his time and effort on San Francisco lately, doesn't it? Yeah, because he knows where his bread is buttered. LA, not so much. San Fran, yeah. Yeah, he's just a lifetime mayor there, isn't he? I mean, and he was. So it's control the population. That's what this person is saying. Seattle Gray 19, represent Seattle. It's control the population, provide housing, food, health, and transportation, all in synchrony with big tech, private companies, and the government. Remember, you will own nothing and you will be happy. This is where they will house everyone and charge government for it. Yeah. Interesting theory. I don't think that doesn't fly logically with me. Certain aspects of that does. I do think that you will have nothing and enjoy it is out there for sure. With a lot of the policy you see going on. Absolutely. Is that responsible for the demise of San Francisco? The correlation there to me might be part and parcel, a small part of it, but it's not the overriding factor. I read an article, which I can't find now, that the BLM riots were all in real estate that is going to be highly valuable in the future. That's interesting. All right. I will chosen and faithful. I will keep an eye out on that. From the standpoint of, is that true? Some areas, absolutely, for sure. What I saw in Seattle, what I saw in Portland, I would say absolutely true. But there are also a lot of Black Lives Matter riots in other areas of the country that aren't necessarily going to have huge valuations down the road, right? Like in a lot of the Black communities, you're not going to see that type of appreciation. You will see some gentrification, but would I say that that is the norm? I'd have to see more data on that. He's not onto something. I've said it plenty of times, and it's not a secret. They are creating investment opportunity zones in major city areas since COVID lockdowns, where they can pick up real estate cheap with tax-free benefits for wealthy investors, offload stocks, and roll it into real estate. Well, that's just common sense for a wealthy person, right? That's just how you do it. So nothing really shocking there, but I don't think you're creating investment opportunities. I think investment opportunities are happening because of terrible progressive policies that have ripped cities apart. And everybody stands around with their thumb up their butt going, when's it going to turn around? Why isn't it getting better? This isn't working out. And they just don't want you to talk about it. I just don't say anything because, if you don't say anything, it'll get better. Let's keep going on here. I believe they're going to blow those bridges too for some big part of some huge narrative, 9/11 style. When we all see San Fran has nothing but a shite place, they can destroy it and rebuild because that is what chaos makers do. Rebuilding is part of the cycle. Okay. All right. Yep. You do need to rebuild at some point. Agreed. The chaos makers, who are they? Is it just this group? I don't know. Sadly, this is not a new strategy, so I would not say that idea was developed but premeditated to provide during the pandemic. To provide some examples, look at the crack epidemic in the U.S. Okay, but some would say that was so that the United States government could fund a war that wasn't exactly official. Yeah, there's some different circumstances there. The crack epidemic did not happen in areas that have wildly turned around. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen New Jack City or not. Yeah, that's a thing, right? All right. The plan was manifested by our own government to ensure inner cities became crack dens to drive value down. Now, was it to drive value down? Or to have built-in customers? Yeah, I think it was the built-in customers driving property values down because you got a whole bunch of people addicted. Yeah, that's happened. But you're right. This is happening, and I record podcasts about this in Portland. People can't sell their homes because they got homeless people living across the street that are whacked out of their mind on drugs. So yes, you do have that, but it's been because of progressive policy allowing people to live wherever, do whatever drugs they want, and basically provide a, social backdrop for them to be able to operate and live their lifestyle on the taxpayer's dime. But is that the reason they did that? No, I think it's just, progressive policy is just so bad, like Joe Rogan says, that it doesn't make any sense. But because they believe that if you just stick at it, if you just go down this road a little bit further, we're going to see the end results of our glorious, thought out plan here. And meanwhile, crime rate just keeps going up and things just get worse, right? People tend to toss around buzzwords like billionaires and elites. Well, we need to start naming organizations specifically. Then follow the money all the way to the last mother and hold them accountable. All right, I'm okay with that. I'm down with this plan. There aren't that many billionaires. So who is it? Who the is it? Where the are they? Good question, last Black Hashira. I want to know too. Those are questions I want to know. You always say it's a bunch of billionaires. Which ones? All right, show me their investment. Show me their, holding company. Show me their LLC. I thought the same thing. Isn't that a penalized crime? They did facilitate it. They drove up land prices, which drove up the middle class and made rent unaffordable for the underclass that was left. Then the city starts collapsing and the rich see an opportunity. No conspiracy, just the dynamics of modern class warfare. Okay, Jack Archer, I agree. That is what I think is happening. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, You've got modern class warfare. You've got wealthy individuals who have the ability to take advantage of a downward market that know on the map where does San Francisco sit, because real estate, you can't move it. It's immobile. It's one of the key characteristics. You can't move the damn thing. It's only one of each. There is not two properties anywhere in the world that have all the same characteristics, because you're going to have a different address. You're going to have a different legal description. You're going to have a different geographic, even if they're side by side and they're identical, they're going to have slightly different characteristics. So modern class warfare, you got the rich doing what they've always done. They've speculated on real estate because they have money, and that's what they do. So that's what you got going on. And you've got it going on in cities that have had just terrible policies for years and years and years. So you got wealthy people, you got corporations, you got billions of dollars just all sitting on the sidelines waiting, because this is their moment. They're going to swoop in and they're going to buy a bunch of stuff, but not because of some pre-planned out plan. It's because that's what they do. That's real estate speculation. And it's been going on since the beginning of time, right? I like what he's got better. It's better for this, and this reason. I'm going to go buy it. I'm going to go take it. I'm going to go whatever. Yeah. Bill Ayers et al. We are distracted and destroyed by old communists and the Agenda 2030. Don't be fooled. The America-hating Obama and Kerry is also in on it. World War II, big biz backed both allies and enemy. Now with globalization, no biz is loyal to motherland, just the resources. Okay. All right. I will not disagree with some of that, but I don't also think that is the predominant cause of what we are seeing. There might be some effect in there, but again, I go back to, you've got an opportunity. And wealthy folks are looking at it, and corporations are looking at it, and they're just licking their chops on the sideline. That is literally what I think is happening. Because some of the numbers that I'm looking at, I'm like, oh man, if you can buy something in San Francisco for that amount, that is a no-brainer. That's what I think. That is a hold on tight to your balls, dive in deep, make the commitment, and go, because you will be wildly rewarded on the other end. That's what I think will happen. Other people are like, yeah, I would never invest there. Turn off the lights in Seattle. It's done. It's terrible. It's awful. It's not. It's just not. San Francisco, yeah, it's got some major issues. But if you got the money to work your way through it, and if you're buying it at enough of a discount and you got just enough tenants to make that payment, whatever, oftentimes the buyers that jump in at this point, like, BlackRock did during the Great Recession of 2008, they're investors. They're looking for a return. They got lots of money behind them. You've got individuals looking at San Francisco, looking at Portland, looking at Seattle. And you know where they go? They go to the top tier properties. They go to the top tier locations, because that's how the game is played. Is it this nefarious, conspiracy theory? Certain aspects of it might be, but I'm not really seeing it. I don't really believe in most of that. I believe in what I can put my finger on data wise. And so from there, I'm sorry, guys, I can't do the whole, well, this happened. I'm kind of seeing this up here. I'm like, all right, show me the facts. And, oftentimes when people try and show me the facts, I'm like, okay, in the first 3 sentences, I'm like, no, and maybe-ish. Yeah. But I think there are some great opportunities out there right now for those that have the cash to get through the rebuilding portion, the turnaround portion. I think it'll happen. I think you're just at a bottom end of a cycle right now. And a bottom end of the cycle, in large part, is due to politicians that have made some horrific choices. And their citizenship keeps making horrific choices, which keeps bringing property values down further. And so then when folks are ready to step in and they're like, okay, I can't stand this anymore. It's like, it's like if somebody's just about ready to give something away, you're like, well, I'll take it then. Cause I mean, it's got some value, right? I'll take it then. That's literally what you've got going on right now in the San Francisco marketplace today. All right. That's it for me. Those are my thoughts. That's my opinion. You let me know what you think is going on in the comments. All right. Thanks so much. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.